唔係，後面會講嘅。下一 part 我哋會講 acid and alkali。acid and alkali 嘅 acid 其中一個用處就可以消除 rust 嘅。咁點解？因為咧 rust 就係一個我哋叫 base 嘅嘢 ，base oxide 其實係會同 acid 嘅 metal oxide，all metal oxide will react with acid。Fe2O3 不過有多少少嘢，唔係純粹 Fe2O3。係啦，好啦，the whole chapter we are talking about the concept why iron will rust and how can we use the theory of the rusting of iron to prevent. Protection means we better not allow the rusting to occur. So it is called protection, but actually it is corrosion prevention. Prevent it to corrode, prevent it to rust. And the concept is very simple. We know why iron will rust, and then we try to remove that condition, that factor will lead to the corrosion of iron. Then it will be protected. And it is very important because if we can avoid the corrosions of iron to occur, we can save million dollars every year. Okay? If you find a way to prevent the rusting of iron, you may be a very rich man. If you find a very effective way to prevent, but of course, so many scientists try to think about how to prevent the rusting of iron. They succeed in some way, but not always. Okay, so actually the whole chapters we are talking about why iron rusts and how can we prevent the rusting of iron. Okay, so it is simple. So corrosion of metals. 腐蝕或者分解especially you concentrate on iron because iron is the most common metal, especially it is used as constructional materials. Iron 最大問題就係佢做一啲我哋叫支撐性嘅結構性嘅嘢，但係佢 rust 咗之後咧，佢變成一個 compound。It loses the properties of iron. Iron is very strong, it's very hard. It can use as the constructional materials. It can support maybe a building, a bridge, okay? But if it turns into rust, it will very weak, brittle, easy to break down. If the building is held by rust only but not iron, it will fall down. So prevention of iron to rust is very important, okay, in our daily life. Iron, the reactivities of iron is in the middle, okay? So remember, it's in the middle. But why iron will rust? Actually, it is not only the reaction of iron. It is not only react with oxygen or water or acid. It is a more complicated reaction. But in Form 6, in DSE, no need to exactly knowing why iron rust, the whole process. You just require to remember the basic steps, okay? Basic steps. And why iron rusting is so destroying, so lead to the changing of the properties of iron. It is because the following. The rust, the content is easily flake off, or it is porous. Iron turn into rust, it will flake off, and also it is porous, means hole. It has many holes in it. Okay, and water will it will lead to the iron will not be protected. But compared with other metal, they will not corrode so easily. Do you know why? Because other metals, they will also corrode and they will also turn into oxide. Other metal form oxide. 2. But many other metals, their oxide, it has a protective properties. It will not easily flake off, and it do not have hole in it. It is not porous, not easy For example, aluminium. Aluminium is more reactive. It will also easily turn into aluminum oxide. But aluminum oxide will not easily break off. It is not porous. It will cover the surface of aluminum and avoid the aluminum to continue turning into aluminum oxide. So we usually describe it as protective oxide layer. Not only aluminum, for example, chromium, magnesium, nickel, copper, the reactivity of copper is too low. It will not easy to corrode. So we concentrate on the metal in the middle of the reactivity series. In the top of the reactivity series, there are two reactive, no way to protect it. We should only put it into, for example, paraffin oil to avoid it to react. But starting from aluminium, iron, they are useful metal in our daily life. We need to think about how can we protect it to react, to turn into metal oxide and change the properties. Okay, not easily break off and not porous. iron 係最 common 嘅，但係好得意嘅 iron 本身就係佢變成咗 iron oxide，即係嗰隻叫 rust 之後咧，嗰啲 rust 咧係冇辦法好好地 cover 喺個 iron 表面上，所以佢冇辦法 avoid 啲 iron 咧 continue to rust。OK，the iron, the rust, they are easily break off and also the rust itself has so many holes. Okay, it cannot protect the iron. Okay. So why the rust of iron can easily be break off and also why it has so many holes in it? We need to understand the theory why it will rust. But I have told you, we use a simple way to understand it. We just know the conditions of why iron rust. Okay. So very important. If the necessary conditions, the must conditions of iron to rust, there should be two factors. The first is water, the presence of water. But not only water will lead to the rust of iron. It also requires the presence of oxygen. Two, both present, rusting will occur and will become comparatively fast. Okay, if one of the two factors is removed, then the rusting will become very, very, very slow or even stop. If only oxygen present, no rusting. If only water present, no rusting. Okay, so remember, actually, you know how to prevent rusting. Try to keep out of one of the two factors. Keep out of water or keep out of oxygen or keep out of the two factors both. Then you can prevent the rusting of iron. But does it easy to keep out these two factors? No, because our atmosphere is full of oxygens. And also the atmosphere has a lot of water mist. So actually it is hard to remove or keep away of the two conditions. Okay? And how can we prove that the presence of water and oxygen are the necessary conditions of rusting? Usually we will use some experiment to show it. But tomorrow we are not doing this one. But you need to remember the details of the following experiment. Why? Because not so common, but talking about rusting, only three things are asked. What are the necessary conditions to allow iron to rust? Answer: water and oxygen. And how can you prove that water and oxygen are the necessary conditions to rust? Then show the experiment, the following experiment. And the third one is, how can you prevent iron to rust? And it is the following part, okay? So how can you use an experiment to show the presence of water and oxygen are the must? We will set up an experiment like this, especially the third three test tube. The fourth is not a necessary setup, but it shows an additional condition to speed up rusting。通常我用頭3支試管就夠啦，第4支係額外講多啲嘢。Rusting 咧，除咗有2個 necessary condition，water and oxygen 之外咧，rusting 都會有啲 factors 會令到 rusting 再快啲嘅，speed up 個 rusting 嘅。咁第4支就係為咗要證明呢樣嘢啫。So usually if you are asked to describe or draw some experimental setup to show why water and oxygen are the necessary conditions, then draw the third free characteristic is okay. Okay? And in doing experiment, in Form 1 and Form 2, you know that we need to set up a The control. The control. Okay. The third one is control. It is the control. Okay. The third one is the controlled one. Okay. It presents water and oxygen. Both oxygen and water are present, and we use iron as the object, which contains iron. Okay. Because it is cheap. One iron maybe cost only 0.2 or $3 only. Okay, usually we use iron instead of some iron granule buy from some shop. Okay, the iron is much cheaper. Actually, iron is very cheap, but if you want to buy it from some suppliers, okay, the iron granule it is very expensive. But you can buy iron. So tomorrow you will also use iron to do experiment. Okay， 用個鐵釘啊，其實通常都用鐵釘。咁呢個 control 啊 ，why it is control? It present water and oxygen. Water and oxygen are both present in the cell. You put it in a distilled water, and also because usually water will contain some dissolved oxygen. That means you can expect the iron will rust. Okay? But rusting is not a very fast reaction. It is very slow. Usually you need several days to observe the rusting to occur. So usually such step you need to keep it for several days or maybe a week. And does the rusting dramatically showing you that no, you can only see some trace of rusting, some brown substance are formed surrounding the iron. Okay? Some. Some brown substance formed on the surface of the new after several days. Okay, so if you are required to describe the experiment, you need to set such an experiment and then keep it for a week or maybe. So it is substance. Because you can't prove that it is salt. You will see some brown things on the surface of the iron, but you cannot describe it as salt. And because we want to show that both water and oxygen must present to allow rust to occur. So the other two cells, we try to remove one of the two things. How can we remove water from the atmosphere? We use something to absorb the moisture. And what is the substance commonly being used to absorb moisture? One of the most common things is anhydrous. Anhydrous means no water, dry. Dry. And the chemical is called calcium chloride, CaCl2. It is one of the substances which can use to absorb moisture. Even you can find it in your home. Dehydratant. Some dehydratant you can buy in Japanese home shop. Yes. It keep in a plastic container. 嗰啲吸濕器啊，裡面咧其實有兩層嘅。Usually you can see two layers. The upper layer there are some white solid. What are the white solid? The white solid is anhydrous calcium chloride. 係咯係。Okay, when you remove the cover, then the calcium chloride inside will absorb the moisture from the atmosphere. So you can keep, for example, your cupboard dry because it continues to absorb the moisture. It is the most common and the most cheap substance which can use to absorb moisture, absorb water. And in lab, we also use this thing to absorb moisture. So if you keep the anneal in a test tube with a stopper, and you keep the calcium chloride like this, we do not allow the calcium chloride to contact the anneal. Because someone will think that, oh, the calcium chloride surrounding the anneal, that means the calcium chloride are worthy to contact with oxygen. It is not used to absorb moisture, so we usually use some cotton wool to keep away the anneal and calcium chloride. Okay, so the cell is setting like this. So no water in this container. And the second test tube, we are going to remove oxygen. How can we remove oxygen but still have water? We put water, but the water should be boiled. Usually, water will contain some dissolved air, dissolved oxygen. How can you remove the oxygen inside water? Boil it. Because when the temperature of water increases, the solubility of air will sharply decrease. 其實咧，平時嘅水裏面有啲空氣溶咗裏面，所以你啲魚先會抌落水度會死，因為啲魚要吸氧氣啊嘛。咁有咩方法整走啲水裏面嘅氣體咧？煲佢，煲水咧，水裏面嘅空氣嘅溶解度就會急劇下降，煲到接近滾咧，裏面嘅所有空氣都會整走晒。So boiled water contains no oxygen. 所以喺屋企 ，if you want to keep some fish at home, okay, as 寵物 ，okay, don't use boiled water.
點會擺條魚落去滾水度？
滾水意思係凍咗滾水 ，cold boiled water. Okay, don't use cold boiled water. Oh, you want to remove the bacteria in water, so you try to boil it. Okay, and then put it. Keep it into room temperature and then put the fish in it, and the fish will immediately die. Okay, because no oxygen in the water. The boiled water contains no oxygen. The fish cannot breathe, and then it will immediately die. You can try it. You can try it. 如果屋企有養魚嘅話，試下煲完啲水之後咧，整凍咗佢咧，抌條魚落去，條魚係即刻反肚嘅。不過唔好做啦嚇，咁殘忍。Okay. So no oxygen. Because oxygen will then continues to dissolve in water. Avoid oxygen to continue to dissolve in water. We keep an oil on the surface. Keep away the further dissolve of oxygen. Okay? Avoid oxygen to dissolve. Okay? Avoid O2 to dissolve. Okay? No oxygen. Then you can observe that after a week, no rusting on the first two test tubes. The third one, rusting occurred. The fourth one is an additional experiment. Actually, it shows you why sometimes in some conditions, in some environment, the rusting will even faster than normal conditions, especially the presence of this one.
Maybe you are solar home cell.
soluble soluble salt, not salt, soluble salt. The presence of salt in water or the presence of salt will speed up rusting. So when you compare the third and the fourth test tube, the fourth one will show the rusting will even faster. Yes.
The salt only means sodium chloride.
No, all other kind of salts. That means ionic compound. The presence of ionic compound. 我哋學過啦，而家我哋講 salt 咧，其實大部分啲ionic compound 我哋叫 salt 嘅。
係嘛
Sodium chloride 我哋淨係叫做 table salt。
我知啊 electrolyte。
Electrolyte. The presence of electrolyte will speed up the rusting. Okay? So, remember, if the question asks you to describe an experiment to show water and oxygen are a must for rusting to occur, the third three. If an experiment you are required to set to show what are the factors which can speed up rusting, the fourth one. Okay? And I've told you, the rusting, the reaction is a little bit complicated, but in DSE, you are just required to know the following two equations only. The first one is, rusting occurs, the first step, iron is losing electrons. You know that all metal tends to lose electrons. And rusting, the same. For rusting to occur, iron is first to remove electron, to lose electron. How many electrons to lose? Two only. The first step of rusting. First step. So, how can you prevent the rusting of iron? If you remove the first step to occur, or you avoid the first step to occur.
aluminum protected oxide。
你講得太遠啦，淨係乜根據條 equation，我哋點樣去防止 rusting？ Iron tends to lose electron. If you connect iron with a even more reactive metal, the reactive metal tends to lose electron faster than iron. Then iron cannot lose electrons. And also, you can direct supply some electron to it. You can use the electricity to avoid it to. Yes, later part I will show you that. So, how can you prevent rusting? Give electron to iron. Then iron cannot lose electron. It tends to lose this electron and you immediately give it back. It cannot lose. 即係你想使錢點知啊？我喺油粉面攞錢出嚟使嘅時候咧，左手面人塞啲錢你嘅袋度，咁你會唔會都使唔到錢啊？
所以要 continue 就可以一直做幾年係唔錯。我嘅係即係個啱嘅啦。
個電口需要好大嘅，其實係好細 voltage 得嘅。咁你就發覺有啲情況之下咧，你可以 continue 製造啲電嘅。咁一陣會講翻。電池得嘅其實一般嘅電池已經足夠啦。係啦。And after the first step, actually it requires several steps to rusting occur. But in DSE, you are not required to know the following steps. You are just required to know the overall step. It is the overall. Overall. Okay. Overall, the overall is iron in the presence of oxygen and water. So it is the two necessary conditions. The necessary conditions. Remove oxygen or remove water. No rusting because it cannot undergo these reactions. So why no oxygen or no water, no rusting occurs? Okay? And what is rust? I've told you in the previous part of this lesson, some students ask, oh, rusting is iron 3 oxide. Rusting is not only iron 3 oxide, it is a crystal with water of crystallization. And the number of water attached to iron 3 oxide is N.
嗰個係 attached
主要交個 N 咧。
Why N? Why not a concrete number? It is because N can be
variable.
very variable.
Oh.
And it can be 1, 2, 3, and up to 10. And because N can be a variable, so it is why the rust of iron can easily break off and also with porous. Is porous. Why? You can think about if there are some rust which is Fe2O3 1 water.
Fe3O4
And some rust is Fe2O3 10 water. Which one has a larger volume? The 10 one. And if you have so many different kind of rust with different size, can they pack closely to each other? They cannot pack closely to each other. Just like you make a wall, you have some brick. You try to make the brick into a wall. But the size of the brick is not the same. Can you form a wall without hole? No. 你哋砌積木嘅時候，一模一樣嘅積木，易唔易砌到變咗好緊密啊？如果你砌積木嘅時候，一嚿積木細，一嚿積木大，一嚿積木又中 size， 你可唔可以好好地砌到變咗做好緊密啊？唔得嘛 ！That's why when I form rust, it form like this one.
即係話，你明啲咩先？問題上。
Okay? And finally, the rust will have many holes. Okay? So, why rust of iron is not so effectively protect iron? It has so many holes. It will easily break off. Okay?
即係可能俾啲電聲係令到大家，因為或者可能俾一個更加
出翻個瘦
可能見到更大啲咩？
你有幾多個有電子嘅？
個電子嘅多啲嘅，咁咪能夠
And it is porous.
Fe 取咗啲 oxide， 可以令到俾啲電流佢就咁個 Fe 唔係會 use 咗呢啲嘅 charge 俾一啲 oxide 去幫啲 rust 咯。咁咪就係嗰個 rust 咪即係話Fe 係呢度有個窿咯，英文叫咩
porous
？metal 擺一個落咗都可以咧，令到啲大窿 Fe 冇 porous 就
係啊，你好似砌積木啊！如果砌積木一嚿大一嚿細，亂咁俾啲大細嘅積木，你有冇機會幫我排到變咗緊密？
即係山
又大又細
嘅
係啦。如果全部 size 一樣嘅積木，你會點啊？係咪可以好快排到緊密？但係如果佢啲積木一嚿大一嚿細嘅話，會點啊？
所以咪
中間會鬆咯，窿咯。咁佢啲眼啲 bonding 亦都冇辦法好 communicate， 即係好 effectively form 咯。咁佢咪好易甩開咯。Why so why it is easily break off and also have pores？
咁呢一個嘅 iron， 即係呢一個嘅 ionic bond 咪係 weak 嘅咯。即係
係啊。咁係咪？所以佢咪 easily break off 咯？佢係咪得呢一個？即係有其他 condition 都係。仲有一兩隻 metal 都係差唔多嘅，不過主要就 iron， 因為點解我哋最關心 iron？ 我哋最多，而且佢係最 commonly used 嘅 iron。大部分其他 metal 都唔係咁嘅。所以大部分其他 metal，for example aluminium 咧，佢哋冇啲 N water 㗎，佢就係 form 一 aluminium oxide 嘅啫。咁個 aluminium oxide 可以firmly pack together， 所以佢唔可以完全冇窿。Okay, so but you are not required to know why N water. Just remember
即係一定要 water 前面一定加 N。
係。
知道點解得啦，唔知點解得。
呢度問下啫。
So additionally, because not even rusting. Sometimes some condition will speed up rusting. Rusting actually is a very slow condition, but if the additional condition which will speed up rusting occur, then it will cause even serious problem. So we also require to know which factor will speed up rusting. They are not the necessary condition, but if the following condition present, then the rusting will even speed up 10 times or 100 times. So the following factors. The first one is with the presence of acid or acidic condition solution.
咁你咪話可以清酒咯。
佢可以清走啲 rust， 但係同時地如果有酸嘅話，當你有 rust 嘅時候，你可以用酸去清走，但係當你冇有 rust 嘅時候，你有酸就會生產即係冇，就真係會疏失。Why the presence of acid will speed up rusting? It's easy to understand because iron will react with acid like HCl and form
FeCl3.
Right? Still remember these equations?
Yeah.
And you can see when the presence of acid, the following reaction is very fast. And it forms what? It forms Fe2 plus. It is the first step of rusting. It speeds up the first step of rusting. Then why the rusting will even faster? Fe 正，我哋講過啦 ，iron 咧其實佢4個 reaction 之中咧，其中有兩個 reaction 咧係會 form Fe3O4， 有兩個 reaction 咧係會 form Fe 正嘅，同酸反應 react with acid form Fe 正嘅 ，displacement reaction form Fe 正嘅。其實佢要 form Fe 正再 form Fe3正嘅，有兩個 condition 之後咧，佢就 form Fe 正同3正嘅同時嘅。就係同 steam react 同埋 burn in air.
Yes.
Okay, remember 4 reactions of iron. 2 reactions will form Fe3O4 and 2 reactions will form Fe2.
Okay.
Burning in oxygen with steam reaction form Fe3O4. Reaction with acid, displacement reaction Fe2 plus.
個 display 嗰個係 salt 同
Less reactive metal with salt 反應。Okay, and the presence of soluble salt, but in our syllabus, no need to know why the presence of soluble salt will speed up. Just remember it is a factor to speed up the rusting. Okay, and acidic conditions. Sometimes it is not only talking about acid. Sometimes acidic gas will also cause the following problems.
Gas. Dioxide大。哦。
SO2 is an acidic gas. NO2 is also another acidic gas. Why we talking about these two gases? They are pollutant.
哦。我記得。
Common pollutant.
即係
污染，即係嗰啲污氣。
So the area with serious air pollution, usually the iron will rust even faster. Okay. The formula SO2 係啊，你將嚿鐵抌落去月球咧，唔會 rust 㗎。你抌落外太空唔會 rust 㗎。點解？外太空冇咩？冇氧氣。月球冇咩？冇氧氣冇水。Okay, and the presence of the acidic gas, why rusting faster? Because usually the gas will dissolve in rainwater to form acid rain. And also, why seashore? The iron object will also rust faster. But on the other side, why in desert? In desert, no rusting. 你有啲嘢擺咗喺個完全乾燥沙漠，反而掉翻轉。
記錯係嚇。
And the third 第三個會影響嘅 high temperature.
More kinetic energy.
High temperature. So usually when we are talking about a car, which part of the car will rust the fastest?
個 engine 啊
Exhaust 係，我咪串錯字。
啱啊，即係嗰個出煙管。
exhaust
死氣喉。
死氣。通
常問一架車點解死氣喉會最生產得最快？因為死氣喉裏面咧係有三樣嘢嘅 temperature。
係污染嗰啲啊，
好熱。
唔單止啊，其實死氣喉噴出嚟嘅氣體裏面有 acidic gas。
你吸嘛？
聞啊！
唔單止啊，死氣喉原來噴水蒸氣。
每日聞一聞。
因為汽車引擎其實會產生水㗎，佢噴出嚟嘅時候有水、有氧氣、又有酸、又有高溫，所以死氣喉理論上生咗水。
通常唔用鐵嚟。
而家其實就好啲嘅，因為佢會將一啲嘢包裹住鐵，佢主要係鐵，但係揾啲嘢包住鐵。點解包住鐵就唔生鏽啊？因為接觸唔到乜嘢啊？
跟住揾鐵嘅，唔可以用鋁啊。
鐵最平啊，鐵最硬啊。仲有一啲其他 factor。如果其他 factor 呢個係第四。如果啲 iron contact with a less reactive metal， 咁啊喺個 reactivity series 裏面低過佢嘅包括咗 lead 啦、copper 啦、silver 啦，咁佢哋就會 speed up 咗嘅。
又 speed up。
好得意㗎！
咁唔會。
你將啲鐵咧揾嚿銅翹住佢，佢會生鏽得快啲。揾個銀包住佢，佢會生得快啲。
下面嗰個凹凸不平嘅地方都會。
係啦，另外 uneven sharply point regions， 尤其是譬如話一嚿鐵嘅管啊、鐵嘅鋼筋啊，你扭曲佢之後咧，個扭曲位置會生鏽最快。咁呢啲咧，而家嘅 condition 之下咧，而家嘅課程之下咧，你唔需要知道點解，純粹記住有啲個 factor 得㗎。因為要解釋咧，其實係要呢啲以前嘅 A-level concept 先解釋到。
唔知用啲。
咁而家純粹當 factor， 所以幾時考啊 ？MC 咧最多都係。
可能長係。
A-level 有冇考過？我有啊，我有教埋 A-level 添啊，以前。
係咪因為 sharply concept 係因為佢？
再提一次啦 ，A-level concept 我哋需要1個半個鐘頭嘅課程先教呢啲。我哋唔夠時間。
A-level 難啲嘅事。
好啦，講埋呢個啊，呢個因為同聽日個實驗有關嘅，而且考試都幾多考下嘅。咁啊，最近好似3年前有條 multi 問呢樣嘢嘅。咁呢個咧就係，頭先我哋話嘅 experiment 嘅 previous experiment。We required a week to observe the rust to occur because rusting is not a very fast reaction. Can we speed up the rusting, or can we use some method to try to observe the rusting in a faster way? Yes, we can use a substance which is called rust indicator. What is it? It is a chemical called potassium hexacyanoferric free. Don't be afraid. You are not required to write down the name or the formula, but you need to indicate this one is called rusting indicator. That means if a question talking about, we keep a IU in a solution contain this one, it is a rusting indicator. It is used to show the rust to occur. And this one, you need to remember another two facts. The first one is, originally, it is yellow in color. And when rust occurs, it will turn to blue. Immediately, even a very little amount of rust occurs. But actually, it is used to test the presence of FE2 plus。
好明顯。
其實聽日咧，原本聽日叫你賭完咗之後，星期五先睇。不過聽日賭完咗之後咧，一開始上堂賭完，落堂前你都見到有啲藍色出現㗎。咁 Rust 原本要成個禮拜嘅，但係佢哋好處就係因為 Rust 開始會產生 FE 熱症咧，少少 FE 熱症佢就轉顏色㗎。So you can see the setup. And tomorrow the setup will show like this. Okay. You use a new to show the presence of Rust。咁頭先講過啦，咩位置會生細得最快？尖嘅地方啊，屈嘅地方。所以個鐵釘咩位置會 Rust 啊？好啦，頭先講過幾年前有條 public exam multi 考呢個 setup， 你知唔知考啲乜嘢 ？Label。What can you observe? Which kind of color are present in such experiment?
Blue and yellow.
You can see what is the color?
From yellow.
Yellow, blue, and if I put some phenolphthalein in it。不過聽日我初頭唔俾你住啦，咁你可以滴落去嘅，或者你可能有啲同學擺，有啲同學唔擺。咁其實佢會轉埋 pink 嘅，所以三隻顏色 yellow、blue and pink。咁就係早幾年一條 multiple choice questions。咁呢個你唔做嘅實驗，你哋都會記得顏色嘅，所以一定做俾你睇，所以做下先。唔係 test OH minus hydroxide。其實喺成個過程之中咧，會產生 hydroxide， 所以會有轉 pink colour。It will turn pink。咁聽日會做多少少嘢嘅，其實我哋仲會學埋點樣 protect 佢。咁啊 protect 嘅方法後面嗰啲 factual 嘅其實，咁啊時間關係都好簡單啦。其實概念好簡單啫，只要冇 oxygen， 只要冇 water， 最簡單嘅方法叫做 surface protection。
即係表面
買層油位
嗰啲油啦，
即係嗰啲不鏽鋼
嗰啲咩用 paraffin oil 咯。
只要揾啲方法 keep away
油漆嗰啲啊
keep away oxygen。For example paint。For example oil。其實大部分你識㗎啦，日常生活都成日識嘅。咁後面純粹解釋嘅啫。咁你見到啦 ，paint。Plastic, oil or grease。Grease
同埋 oil 有咩分別啊
？Oil 就係液體嘅 ，grease 就係半液體。
即係豬油。
係啊。
係啦。
一嚿豬油。
咁啊，其實原因好簡單 ，paint 就係 keep away no O2 water。Plastic 都一樣 ，oil 一樣 ，grease 一樣。咁咪冇 washing 咯。但係點解用氫㗎？
唔會生鏽。
後面學嘅咧就好簡單嘅啫。點解有陣時用氫，有陣時用 plastic， 有陣時 oil， 有陣時 grease。冇錯啦，尤其是呢兩個係 moving part。
哦，即係嗰啲摩打。
冇錯。
哦，即係嗰啲
寫錯
潤滑。
係，即係話就 lubricant。
lubricant 啦，或者我哋最 common 嗰隻 lubricant 叫做咩？It is an oil, paraffin oil。
嚇！即係嗰個就係啊。
但其實同 paraffin oil 差唔多。
咁如果我擺部 test 入去，即係可以
你有 protection 咩？跟住點樣擺落去啊？
擺咯。
你擺一 protection， 跟住不斷噴WD-40，噴到佢腫住，會唔會複雜咗少少？咁呢個咧時間關係，我哋聽日繼續講。咁後面咧其實就算自己睇都明嘅 ，OK， 所以唔需要啊，唔好意思，裏面下面有70%嘅嘢自己睇都明嘅。好啊。咁啊，自己功夫咗先啦，聽日會講得快啲。
咁要咁 protect 到結果，嗰啲用睇個方式。二路係咯。 成日講日文粗口鬧人。